Hello, 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 hello. Thank you for joining my live today. Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Thanks for joining me. I wanted to hop on in here really quickly to talk about just some three reasons why I believe that if in case you're interested in becoming a parent and you've just gotten married, to probably consider taking a pause on that decision and maybe just wait about a year, 2 years or so and decide with your spouse to kind of wait before you start trying to conceive or trying to have children either through conception, or maybe you just want to adopt or you want to foster or whatever means you want to go about it, or IVF. So just three things. But first, hi, my name is Ruby, and welcome to the Ruby Room, whereby I help women navigate the complexities of growth, relationships, and more especially motherhood. I am a mom of a 9 months old child, and my husband and I welcomed him last year. My husband and I were married for about almost a year before we started trying to conceive our son. That was an active decision we actually made when we got married, that we should probably wait about a year or so before we even try to conceive or anything like that, bringing a child into the world. And it's interesting because prior to us getting married, we we were so excited, like, let's get married and then immediately we're gonna start popping these babies out. And but then when we got married, we just kind of sat back and said maybe it's wise for us to wait a little bit and not immediately trying to start conceive. And also we got some advice from some good friends of ours who are like, kids come with a lot, and it's not that they're bad things, but it's probably wise to just kind of like sit back a little bit and enjoy your marriage for a bit before you start trying to conceive or consider adding children into the picture in your marriage. And so I'm glad that we took that advice and we considered it, we prayed about it, and it was the wise choice for us. And so in sharing this, my purpose of sharing these reasons is, well, one, it's catered to someone who would want to have kids someday, and who's interested in having kids, and also catered towards like maybe someone who's engaged right now, or you're married and you're considering, should I not, when's a good time, and stuff like that. If you've watched my past interviews or my past videos with others, I usually ask or talk about readiness when it comes to parenting and motherhood and stuff like that. So that's those are the people who this is catered to. And if you haven't liked this video yet, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel or become a member. And I'd really appreciate your support. So let's get right into it. I mentioned I'll be sharing three reasons why I believe newlyweds should wait at least a year before they start trying to conceive or trying to, grow their family in some capacity. And the first reason I believe is relational. I think it's important to focus on just enjoying each other, enjoying one another's company when it's just you two in the family. It's important because you can help to build a really strong foundation for your marriage and for the future. Taking that time to establish a nice strong bond as a couple is really, really important. And before you start adding like the responsibilities of parenting, and before even going into parenting, pregnancy in general, pregnancy comes with a lot. You never know how you're going, as a woman, how your body is going to re, re, react to pregnancy. You might be someone who might be sick the entire 40 weeks, or you might be someone who have an easy breezy pregnancy and everything is comfortable and great. Those things are unpredictable. And I know sometimes when people say, ask your mom how she was during pregnancy, and that can help you determine what kind of pregnancy you have. And I've heard varying responses whereby some women are like, yep, just like my mom, and others are like completely different from my mom. And sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes there are bad reasons. And so I think just it allows, for you to nurture your relationship, nurture your marriage and stuff like that, and develop a strong, solid foundation of love and trust and understanding with one another. As I mentioned, my husband and I made the active decision to wait a little bit before we started having kids. And because, well, one, my husband and I, we dated and got married all in one year. Like all of it happened in 1 year. And I've shared that before in a previous video of our relationship. So being that we did so much in those 12 months, we thought it was wise to kind of wait a little bit because we still needed to get to know one another. I still needed to get used to, and both of us needed to get used to just like living with someone else, because prior to getting married we both lived by ourselves and stuff like that. I had my own apartment for many years. He's lived by himself for many years, so it's like we have to adjust. Just cohabitating with someone else, I still had to get used to like lay next to someone. He did too. We still had to get used to each other's bad habits and different habits that we have, learn how to compromise and negotiate things, and all these things are so important. So I think that they're relevant. You need to learn how to fight well. These are things that I think are really important because conflict, there it can be healthy conflict, and these things happen in marriage, and these are not things to shy away from. And so all those are reasons why I think it's important to just build that strong foundation in your marriage, and that's, when it comes to the relational side of it. Another thing is just establishing, your shared interests, get to do fun stuff. You can get to be spontaneous when you're without a child. Now we have our baby. So it's like if we want to even go on a date night, my in-laws, my husband's parents are amazing with our baby, and they're the ones who would watch him and stuff like that. They're the ones whom we trust right now to take care of our child outside of us. And so we'll leave our son to them, and they're just amazing with our child. And so that's really awesome that we have that. And but prior to that, it would have, and maybe someone, you may not have help, so now you got to figure out babysitters and stuff. You can't just say, hey, this weekend we should go to a different city, we should travel, we should go on a trip. If you have a kid, you can't just make spontaneous decisions like that. So you can get to be spontaneous. My husband and I, that first year of our marriage, we got to travel, we got to explore. It was so much fun. We could just make spontaneous decisions. We had a lot more date nights when we didn't have a child versus now. We definitely are intentional about squeezing in date nights, but it was so much easier when we didn't have a child and stuff like that, because we got to plan babysitting for him and stuff like that, so we can just enjoy one another. You got to think about quality time and communication. You'd have to learn to just spend time with one another, and just allowing space for quality time and open communication. Those things are very, very important when it comes to marriage. Learn how to communicate, because if you think about it, if you get pregnant in that first year of marriage or something, and here we are, we're dealing with hormones. So you never know how you might be reacting to certain things. Something that might not be a big deal will become a huge deal to you because your hormones are just all over the place. You're irritated and stuff like that. So it's like you learn to understand each other's habits. You learn how to fight well with your spouse, because it's okay to fight. Just know how to fight well. Learn how to negotiate, learn how to compromise, and learn how to deal with stuff. And those are things you learn as newlyweds. You learn to navigate conflict. So first reason why I believe you should wait at least a year after getting married before trying to have kids is, for relational purposes, and that's focusing on each other and enjoying one another's company. The second reason why I think it's important to wait is because of medical reasons, for health purposes. Prepare your body for a healthy pregnancy. I think that's really, really important, because your body is going to, if you're choosing to have your baby naturally or by IVF or something like that, you want to like naturally prepare your body for this thing. It's a huge undertaken for you to carry a child. You want to make sure you're in the healthiest, as healthy as you could be, for yourself to be able to nurture this life inside you, to carry this life inside you. So it's important to understand your fertility and reproductive health. Taking that time to understand fertility and your reproductive health can really help you. The woman, like with tracking your menstrual cycle, is really, really important. That's one thing that you can be able to do. And just understand like your ovulation days. Try to like make sure you understand what's the pattern, like how long is your cycle. Are you I think the standard most people say is 28 days, but that doesn't apply to every woman. There's some women who maybe have like 26 days, and it can go up to like 35 days. And so these are things you need to understand, so that, because a woman can't get pregnant any time of the month. There's a set time. And these are things I had to learn, because when I was younger, I just thought, you can get pregnant, whatever. As long as you make the decision, boom, I want to get pregnant. It's like whenever you become intimate with your husband, boom, it happens. And then that's something you have to learn, that, there's the cycle prior, whereby you have your period, that's where it starts, and then you have that middle portion of ovulation and all that, and then you have the 2 week wait, and then you'll be able to finally test, whereby you can get a positive or negative pregnancy result. So these are all the things that you need to enlighten yourself on, and be intentional about really understanding the length of your cycle and the frequency of your cycle. Are you someone who's has a cycle every month, or every couple months, or every 3 months? Like, pay a visit to your OBGYN for sure. I think there's no harm in that, just, in the preconception time. Like, I know I talked with an OBGYN prior to even trying, my husband and I, just saying, how can I better prepare my body to carry a child? And so I think that's really, really important. And I have a video on how to be able to pick the right OBGYN and the right doctor for your reproductive and your female health. So make sure you check out the video after this. But that's really, really important. And just, observing several things. Something that I learned, when before trying to conceive and stuff, is the importance of the cervical mucus. Because sometimes we underestimate this discharge that we get as women, and we don't even understand how important it is. But understanding the textures and type of cervical mucus that you're supposed to get, that gives you the higher chances and stuff like that. I mean, like different. I mean, I'm not going to get too deep into that. There are many videos on YouTube on these things, but just understanding the importance of your cervical mucus and being observant about these things are ways that you can better prepare your body, so that you can increase your chances of pregnancy and conception. And so I recommend, like, reading books, listening to podcasts. Like, for me, at the time when I was working out at the gold mine, I had a very long commute, and so I'll just pop in my headphones, listen to a podcast on something that has to do with reproductive health, and just educate myself on it. Watch YouTube videos. There are so many resources on here. I know I watched so many videos on that. So just preparing yourself, and also understanding if you have any pre-existing conditions, addressing these issues so that you can better prepare your body for it. Maybe you can do some testing ahead. So I'm a Sierra Leonean born woman, and in most African nations, sickle cell is a very common thing that many people have. And so I have a few cousins who have sickle cell. And so that's something that you may need to know and stuff like that. Like, do I have the gene in me or anything like that? You can do some genetic testing. Your spouse also does some genetic testing to see, like, what do I have? What do we both have? And if we combine together, what would we, like the child, what could this child be susceptible to? And so these are things that I highly recommend you do, maybe testing your blood types and things like that, because there are some things that may be dominant or recessive. And so understanding these things are really, really important. And then the third thing too, when it comes to understanding the just preparing yourself with respect to medical, is to take something with respect to preconception that can help your body. And so, for instance, prior to conception, focus on taking the necessary vitamins that you need. Folic acid is very, very important. Folate is, I think, another the one that people highly recommend and stuff like that. So you can take some prenatal vitamins, and I'll put a link in the description of the prenatal vitamins I take. With one a day vitamins are really, really amazing. And so I do the one a day multivitamin prenatal vitamins, and they were amazing for me in terms of preparing my body. And I plan to do a video where I'll talk about the many different vitamins and things, that just ways I was able to prepare my body for conception. So another thing too is, like, for folks with darker complexion like me, we are kind of we're deficient when it comes to vitamin D. So vitamin D was a vitamin that I was taking. And then another one was vitamin C. I was also taking vitamin C as well. And so those are really, really good. And iron, because I'm anemic. And so I was also including iron in my diet and through foods, but also taking iron supplements, which is something I've taken for many years. I think since I was in high school is when I learned that I was anemic. And so I've been taking iron supplements since then. And so that wasn't really new to me. When I got pregnant, I think the first trimester, I had to eliminate iron because I was just nauseous with it. And I think as I progressed in my pregnancy, the only thing I was taking towards the latter part was really the prenatal vitamins because everything just got irritating for me. I know I stopped taking the vitamin C very early on. My doctor said I didn't really need that, and I was still taking vitamin D for definitely the first trimester and a little bit of the second trimester. But by third trimester, I could only swallow the prenatal vitamins, which already has all of these things in it. But I just needed more, and that's why I was taking these other supplements. And so, yeah, third thing, the third and final reason why I think it's important to wait is for financial purposes. I think it's important to prepare for the responsibilities of parenthood. Having a baby is expensive, y'all. Having a baby is expensive. Oh my goodness, they are cute. They're a blessing. I'm thankful, but they're expensive. So I think it's important to save for your future, save for the future, build a strong financial foundation by saving money. You know me. I've talked about finance in previous videos and things like that about me paying off my student loan debt, which was $74,102 and some change. And I've talked about, Dave, ways that you can be able to save and things like that, and some things with respect to Dave Ramsey and the baby steps and stuff. So check out those previous videos when you're done watching this, just to get some good tips on becoming debt free and saving for the future. But those are things that are really, really important. So you don't want to have a baby and also be stressed out when it comes to finances. You want to really enjoy and soak in that moment and stuff. So it's really, really important. Like, another thing too is just really establishing a steady income. And so my husband and I paid off my debt, made sure we saved a while because now I'm currently staying home with our son. And so with that, we had to kind of prepare ahead, whereby we're just going to become a one income household, And of course, we've had to live below our means and things like that so we can be able to afford. But we were able to prepare a little bit too for this decision that we were going to make, because we were a two income household and then we became one. And so that, and then we're adding a baby onto it. But also you have to consider what's, the cost and the disadvantages as well, like the benefits, cost versus benefits when it comes to childcare. Do you want to maybe put your child in daycare or something like that? Or do you want to stay home with the baby? And in that first year, a couple of years or so, what's going to save you some more money? These are things to think ahead of time prior to having a child. I think these are things that are really, really important to focus on. So make sure you establish that, whereby you can ensure that you be secure financially prior to this arrival of the baby, and even when you're pregnant. Because I had two emergency room visits, and those were really expensive. And this is us having insurance. So if you don't even have insurance, that's going to be such a stressful moment as well, having to pay with cash a large sum of money. So make sure that you're better prepared for these things and expenses of labor and the birth and things like that. Like, I had to have an emergency C-section, so there was a price to that as well. It wasn't just a traditional delivery that I had. So consider all these different things. Make sure like you can create some kind of budget for yourself, whereby you're better prepared. So for instance, for when it comes to diapers, diapers are so expensive, and so I highly recommend, I'm going to do a video on this, on ways that you can be able to save with respect to having a baby in the future and stuff. But one of the things I highly recommend when it comes to, if you're going to have a baby shower, I highly recommend doing a diaper raffle, so that it's like it gives some kind of incentive for people to bring diapers who are not thinking of that. Do a diaper raffle if you possibly can, because so you can get as many diapers as possible. We were very blessed, as my husband mentioned in that previous video I did with him, whereby we're very blessed for people to bless us with a lot of diapers and things like that. But those lasted us for several months actually. So we're thankful for that. Now we're buying our own diapers for our baby and his 9 months. But disposable diapers for a single baby will cost you approximately $70 per month in the United States. And that's $840 per year. That's a lot of money. Okay. That's a lot of money. And so babies, I believe babies, I was reading something whereby babies will use around 6,000 diapers during their first years, their first 2 years of life. Yeah. Yeah. Especially those first few months, a whole lot of pooping goes on, a whole lot. And so financially, prepare for the responsibilities of parenthood. Babies are cute, they're fun, they're amazing, but they're expensive. And so beware of that. Don't and Because it's amazing how I think no matter how many times people even try to prepare you, you still will get shocked like, "Oh my goodness, this is expensive." And so just be cautious of that. So just in conclusion, I think it's important to note that these reasons may vary depending on the individual and your circumstance for sure. And the decision to have kids are solely based on your personal readiness and preferences. But these are just things I encourage you to think about, as in if you're going through premarital counseling, if you're engaged right now, if you're just got engaged, you just got proposed to, or you're thinking of proposing, you're just kind of talking future, or you're newlywed, or maybe you've been married for a few years and now you're considering having a baby. So just these are things to just kind of think about. I hope this was very helpful. And quick recap of the three reasons are why I encourage you to wait after you get married and not have a baby or try to conceive immediately is one, focus on enjoying one another. The second thing is prepare for a healthy pregnancy by taking care of your body when it comes and knowing your body medically. And the third thing is financially prepare for the responsibilities of parenting. Good luck, and I hope I've added value to your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.